So I think I'm going to do the deck profile this way through the simulator because I currently don't like the camera that I have because it doesn't autofocus and it has a trouble focusing in general. So let's get into it and let's talk about it. Today was the case tournament at my locals, and sadly we only had less players normally than what we would have because a couple other places were having a case tournament on top of the current YCS that's going on down in Rhode Island. And a lot of our normal people, they didn't show up because they were at that event or at a different case tournament, but we still had a good showing, enough for a good amount of rounds, and we had a total of 5x1s. Now, with the amount of players that we had, we couldn't do any extra rounds because people would start getting paired up against each other. So let's get into it and let's talk about it. This is my second place list, only losing out in tiebreakers to Raymond Dye. So let's get into the deck profile and let's talk about Maliss at Ignister. So for the deck, for our Maliss names, we have 3 of the March Hare. This is the brand new card from Ignition Assault. Being able to, during the main phase, if this card's in your hand, quick effect, banish one other Maliss card from your hand or graveyard to special summon this card. And if this card gets banished, you pay 300, then target a banished Maliss monster and add it to the hand, which is really good because it can allow you to get to things like Dormouse or your White Rabbit, or recycle your banished Link monsters back into the X deck, which is really good. Then we have the 2 White Rabbit that sets any of your Maliss traps with a different name from your deck. Dormouse, the best starter, still being able to banish a Maliss monster from the deck, and all Maliss monsters gain 300 attack or 600 attack. And then Chessy Cat being able to banish a Maliss card from hand. Then you can draw 2. It's an optional draw 2. But with March Hare, it becomes a Allure of Darkness almost. And realistically, I do think that this is the lineup that everyone wants to play. Also, the 1 Gold Sarcophagus, because it's an additional name to any of your Maliss monsters. Then after that, we have the 3 backup ad Ignister and the 1 wizard ad Ignister. Backup ad Ignister is great because if you control Cyber's monster that was special summon from the X deck, special summon this card from your hand, and if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Dark Cyber's monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself to discard a card. And wizard ad Ignister is if has the same summoning requirement. You target a Dark Cybers in your graveyard, special summon both this card and that monster. Also, you are locked into Cybers monsters for the rest of the turn. And you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, change its battle position. That effect barely comes up, but it can come up if you're going to want to OTK your opponent. Now, this is great if you open up March Hare specifically, because you can normal summon out the backup ad Ignister to use the effect to search out something like a Dormouse or a White Rabbit, and then discard said card. Then you can use March Hare, banishing the card that you discarded out of the 2, so you can summon this and trigger their effects to return back to the field. So honestly, realistically, that's really good, and I'm glad that this deck does have a couple things of consistency issues here and there, but overall, it's definitely still a very solid deck. Now, onto the spells. We have the 2 Malice in Underground, a very good field spell because when you activate it, you could banish a Malice card from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So you could trigger things like all your Malice Link monsters that are in the graveyard, or get things like Dormouse or White Rabbit out of the deck, or even Chessy Cat as well if you need it. Then we have Malice in the Mirror, another new addition from the Alliance Insight set, as you get to target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Then you banish a Malice monster from your hand or face-up field, and if you do, negate that targeted monster's effect until the end of the turn. And if this card is banished, you can target a Malice card in your graveyard, banish it, and if you do, you add a Malice card with the same type, monster, spell, or trap card from your deck to your hand. This is relatively good just to get another way into your March Hare to an Underground if you don't have it, or if you need to get another one, or into one of your trap cards, which I am running the GCW, the MTP, and the TB11. The TB11 definitely came in handy because there is a line that you could do just with White Rabbit, that you can go normal White Rabbit, set the TB11, activate TB11, banishing the White Rabbit to summon the Dormouse, And then the White Rabbit gets to summon back and use these two to go into your Splash Mage, so you can go up into your Heart Crypt or your Red Ransom or White Binder. So you can keep going with your combo and just keep going with everything that you can. So overall, it's really good. Also, Dormouse can banish a Chessy Cat or a March Hare. So you can add the March Hare back to hand or summon out the Chessy Cat, so you can get a draw 2 if you have a Maliss card. I really like the 3 trap cards because last night when I was testing the deck, there was a point where I needed the 3rd trap on a normal summon of the White Rabbit. So it's definitely a card that I do like to have. And then for the generics, that is just another copy of your field spell being Terraforming, which is really good. And then let's talk about the generic cards. You have the 1 Triple Tactics Talent and the 1 Call by the Grave. Both are relatively very powerful cards in the deck, being able to stop hand traps like Artifact Lancia, Molcharmi Fuelos, Perulia, and Ash Blossom. And this is a good way still to rip a card out of your opponent's hand, or if you need to draw 2 cards, you could draw 2 cards. Or if you need to end the game, you could just take control of their monster, but most of the time, you could break their board quite easily with how the deck functions now. Then you have the 1 Jerusalem and the 1 Magnamut. Just good cards for interruptions. I don't run the Baldrake anymore because I don't think it's correct, especially with how a lot of decks really don't care about having one of their cards banished. But I digress. Let's get into the hand traps now, being the 3 Fuelos and 3 Perulia. Fuelos is still a very good card, especially now because a lot of decks still summon from deck and extra deck. So that's one thing to note with that, as being able to just to get a draw off of each summon from the deck or extra deck is really great. And it's also good into Maliss because there is ways that they do get to those monsters out of the deck or extra deck, because they either have to link summon or they have to use effects like the TB11 to summon from deck. But realistically, most of the time they are going to be link summoning into monsters like that. And overall, 100% a very powerful card still. Molcharmi Perulia, every time your opponent normal or special summons from the hand, you draw a card, and this is really good into the mirror match because we're summoning more from the hand, especially with things like March Hare, Backup Agonister, and Wizard Agonister, even our normal summon as well, and the Bestials. But it's also good against things like Ryziel, because that's still a very prominent deck in the format. Because a lot of their cards they need to summon from the hand, like Ice Ryziel, Sword Ryziel, X Ryziel, and Node Ryziel. So you're still getting a lot of draws off of that, even into Mitsurugi, where they summon out from the hand a lot for ritual summoning, or even just starting their plays. It's still a really powerful card, and I think it's the second best Molcharmi right now, where just being able to get those draws even against Blue Eyes is really powerful. Next up, we have the 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's still a very powerful hand trap even today, after almost 8 years of being out. This card just is great to stop things like the Backup Agonister, or even stuff like Chessy Cat if you need it, or even if you want to stop a Terraforming. I actually held a Ash Blossom for so long today against someone where I actually used it on my turn, so they could not do their White Binder summon. I think it was today, or it was against something else, where they wanted to try and... Oh, I held it for their MPT, so they couldn't banish a card I control, so I could just push for game. Now, after that, we have the 3 Dominus Impulse. This card's absolutely crazy because it stops your opponent from special summoning by activating an effect that's with special summon. Now, one of the things I do have to say, it does lock you from Light, Earth, and Wind if you activate it for the hand, but if you activate it when it's set, that doesn't really apply. And most of the time I was setting this card, unless, since I drew 3 copies of it in one game and it worked out in my favor because that was my 2 draws off of the double Perulia I dropped against the mirror match. So I managed to stop him because I had Ash Imperm Impulse, and oh no, it was just Ash Impulse, and I just had my full combo that I could do off of the Dormouse. So This card's really good this format, and if your deck can run it like pure Mitsurugi, I would definitely run it. And then finally, the 3 Infinite Impermanence, a very classic staple, and pairing it with the Dominus cards is really good because it fulfills your trap card in the graveyard, so the thing that you negate gets destroyed. And I really do like that interaction because it makes it where you have to sequence your cards correctly so you can actually do stuff. So since this locks you out of wind, you have to do Perulia or Fulos first, which is fine. But overall, these traps are really good, and I wouldn't change anything about it. Now for the extra deck, I was on the one Ryzeal Detonator because of the Metaltronus that you see in the side deck, but there was only one Ryzeal player there, where the top 4, we had 3 Maliss decks. One was without the new support of the March Hares and the backup Adagnisters, and then 2 of current, and then we also had 1 pure Mitsurugi deck. So in my opinion, I'm going to be cutting this card for Nightmare Cerberus for the Chaos Angel or the Nightmare Cerberus check, so that's one thing that is going to be changed instantly. And then we have into the other new cards, we have a Code Talker Adagnister, or Allied Code Talker Adagnister, which is interesting that the name hasn't been updated yet. It takes 3 plus effect monsters. If it's link summoned, you can activate this effect, and you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. It special summons as many Cyberus monsters with 2300 attack from your graveyard as possible to zones this card points to. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each, so it is going to go up to either 28 or 3300. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you contribute a link monster this card points to negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. So realistically, this is a very powerful end board boss monster because you're going to want to end on this along with a Firewall Dragon, summoning back both your White Binder and your Red Ransom. Now this allows you to get a Firewall bounce for 3 along with an Omni Negate, but there was a point in one of my matches where they no material my Lingaribo, so I couldn't summon it back out, while I had a way to get it to Firewall Dragon to the zone that it doesn't point to. Then after that, I linked away a White Binder along with 2 other monsters to go into the Allied Code Talker to the middle monster zone that the Firewall Dragon and Lingariba pointed to, and I just used the effect to summon back the White Binder so I could have a way so I could just tribute off the White Binder instead of the Firewall Dragon. Then later I could go GWC, summoning back the White Binder so I can banish 3 cards from either graveyard, and then I would have a Firewall double bounce, which in my opinion is really, really strong. And then we have the one Firewall Dragon, of course. The bounce is super potent, and I definitely think that this card alone is a very powerful boss monster still. Then we have the one Access Code Talker. This is actually a card that you can link away into the Code Talker so you can summon itself, the Access Code, the Red Ransom and White Binder back to the field. So you have a total of a 3800 Allied Code Talker, the Access Code Talker, along with the Red Ransom and the White Binder for more damage, because if they end up negating your Access Code Talker, which can happen after resolution, just go into this so you can summon back the Access Code, Red Ransom, and Binder, so you can have a live Access Code Talker again, so you can banish your Red Ransom or White Binder to gain their effect if you didn't use any of their effects, and they just come straight back, which is very powerful. You have the one Heart Cryptor, which is self-explanatory, along with the White Binder and the Red Ransom, so one of each link monster. It's really powerful. After that, we have the one the Dark Charmer, Gloomy. This is good against in the mirror match because you could summon out any of your opponent's Maliss monsters, or if they have a backup Adagnistr in the graveyard, you could summon this to gain more advantage. And then we have the one SP Little Knight, still one of the best link monsters in the game, but I only got to summon it maybe once, maybe none at all. But overall, still a good card just to have. We have the one Splash Mage. This card is still great, being able to link into it using 2 monsters to reborn a Cybers from your graveyard. And overall, definitely a good link to still play in the deck. Cybers Wicked didn't come up for me once, but it's actually good because if a monster special summoned to a zone this card points to, while you control this monster, banish a Cybers from your graveyard to add a Cybers Tuner and your Cyber's tuner is backup at Ignister, so you have more ways to start if you only open up something like Dormouse, and that's it. So you could go Dormouse, banish the March Hare, grab it back, go for Lingaribo, March Hare to banish the Dormouse to summon both of them out, link for 2, and then you can link into another Lingaribo, so you can get the banish of the Dormouse again, or your March Hare, doesn't really matter, to get the backup, so you can do your backup at Ignister line. So there are many ways that you could do with Splash Mage, and it's really good, especially with Wicked. Both of these are very strong link monsters, and overall, definitely impressed on how these two can perform. Haggard Lizardos is a very good link too still, because if you open up the March Hare alone, or if you don't want to waste your normal summon, you could just go March Hare, banish another to summon this, and then you could just link the two, banishing the March Hare to adjust the attack. So you can grab the March Hare back to your hand, and you still have 2 monsters on the field to go into a link 3. So you can go Red Ransom to search your field spell, or the Malice in the Mirror, or Binder to banish stuff if you need. The one IP Mask, granted, I might be cutting this card, but I don't know. I didn't summon it. I didn't see a single person summon it today, but I would not know what to put in its place. I know I do want to replace the Detonator with a Nightmare Cerberus, and realistically, it's just still a good card because it allows you to go up into a Little Knight or a White Binder if you have a Malice name on the board, or you can just quick effect link into a Code Talker to build up your Omni Negate very easily. And finally, 2 Lingaribo. This card's really dumb because when your opponent activates a trap card, tribute this card, negate that card's effects, and if you do banish it, just banishes because that's at Ignisters for you. They like banishing stuff because this also banishes whatever it negates, so kind of crazy when to think about that they both do the exact same banish treatment on a negate. And then finally, for the side deck, we have the 3 artifact Lancia for the mirror match, along with Molcharmy Meows, because this deck loves summon from graveyard and banishment. But on top of that, Meows is a really good card against Mitsurugi because it makes them play weird lines where they will want to summon from the graveyard, but they don't want to give you the additional draws. So if you have something like a Molcharmy Meow and a Perulia combo, they have to be very careful of what they could do, because no matter what they do, it's just literally gives you so much advantage, which is crazy. And this is still good against the mirror match because, like I said before, summoning from Banish and Graveyard, but also it's good against rogue decks like Blue Eyes, so it gets you a draw or 2 maybe, but in my opinion, I'd rather just side this and main the Fuelos and Perulia. And then with the 3 Metaltronus, this is going to be taking out, because I only sided it in never to see it, because you would side it in against the mirror match so you could take care of the Firewall Dragon or the allied Code Talkers. So in my opinion, definitely one thing to definitely consider, because this is probably going to become Nibiru the Primal Being, because there was a couple times where I kind of wish I had it while drawing off of the Molcharmy, Perulia, and Fuelos. And sure, it does conflict with Dominus Impulse, but you want to kind of keep this for last through your opponent's Malice combo, because if they go affect White Binder to summon to draw 1, you definitely want to either Ash or Impulse that, or even just Impulse the Red Ransom. So there's things that you could do with that. And finally, 3 Solemn Judgment. This card's really good because if they use all their resources to go into something like a White Binder or a Red Ransom, you could just flip the Solemn Judgment. They can't respond with the Lingaribo, and then it just goes poof. Or if they summon out their Detonator only, you could just Judgment it, and you take care of the Detonator as much as you can, and you could just banish it off the White Binder later. But overall, I'm really impressed with the deck. The deck definitely holds up to the standard that people were saying it does, even though I'm not playing things like Allure or Darkness at all. And overall, I'm really happy of how I did today, where I got 2nd place and the top 4 split total of 4 boxes between us. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I will have the deck list linked down the comments below through Dueling Book. And also, I do want to shout out to my friend Fekta. She makes products, playmats, and I'll have her link as well down in the comments below too. And if you want to pick up any cards for the Maliss deck, use my TCG play link as well down in the description below. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.